It is Indiana in the Morning on your hometown radio station, WCCS AM 1160 and 101.1 FM. And our conversation with Lisa Spencer, coming up right now, is brought to you by our friends at Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Of course, Lisa Spencer with Indiana County's Department of Human Services, joining us on the phone right now. Lisa, good morning.
Good morning, Josh. How are you doing?
Doing fine. Yourself?
I am great.
Good. Glad to hear from you. And there's a lot going on with the Office of the Department of Human Services. A lot of things we wanted to talk about, but definitely COVID-19 is going to be right at the forefront of everything because it has been over the last couple of weeks. I understand the Recovery Task Force has been busy.
Yes. So the commissioners have pulled together the COVID-19 Recovery Task Force, and I am a member of that team. And so one thing that I wanted to highlight today is something that we had put together, Maureen and I have put together through our office. If you go onto the IndianaCountyPA.gov for the courthouse website, there's a COVID-19 information button that you can click on. And when you do that, it takes you over to our website for the Indiana County Department of Human Services. And that takes you to a folder at the bottom, and you'll see the COVID-19 Recovery Task Force folder. And if you click on that, there'll be extra folders that come up because our idea is, as we find out about things and as things are changing, we wanted to have a format that could be more fluid so we could update and delete stuff as we needed to.
Mm-hmm.
So we broke it into different categories. So we have like the business restart and reopening, and under there we have links to like the Chamber of Commerce, the Indiana County Center for Economic Operations, the Tourist Bureau. We just did links to their sites. Then we also have some PDF things in there for people to read that may be important for the businesses restarting. We also in there have folders for the behavioral health and drug and alcohol supports, community resources such as food and housing, an education folder, a hospital and medical information folder, legal and law enforcement support, and a legislative folder. So there's a lot of information in there, and we're just building on it as we find out things either from the state or from the local information that we can put on there that would just, it's like we're thinking of like a one-stop shop. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I do see what you mean. I'm actually taking a look at it right now. Recovery Task Force formation details also have been posted to the IndianaCounty.gov website, and it really
there's a lot of good information on there.
That document really talks about how this organization came together and its goals and its purpose. Maybe you can talk a little bit about the goals for this Recovery Task Force.
Well, I think one thing that we really wanted to focus on is that we wanted to have a consistent message across all of the platforms. So one thing that is very critical for people is that they don't hear conflicting information. So what we'd like to see happen is on this platform, if we're keeping all of this information together, then we'd like to see the same thing put out by what the Tourist Bureau has or what the legislative teams has, so they can tap into and link up to our folders here so that we're all doing a clear and consistent message. And I think that's the best way for us to communicate to people and make sure that everybody stays informed to kind of decrease the amount of misinformation. So that was really critical when we were looking at how can we be useful and helpful to Indiana County residents as we reopen through this COVID-19 pandemic. And even though we're slowly reopening and then some things maybe take a step back and then we go forward a little bit, that's why we were really keen on having something that would be fluid so we can take away and add to it as needed. So we really just wanted to be a platform for Indiana County residents so that we can keep them involved and informed.
We're talking with Lisa Spencer of the Department of Human Services this morning on Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank. And we've been talking about the a special task force that has been put in place, the COVID-19 Recovery Task Force. But also concerning COVID-19, there's been this CARES rental relief program. Maybe you can talk about that for a little bit.
Yes, this actually happened very quickly. We found out about this probably just a few weeks ago, and so the counties were asked to find a local entity that would be able to implement this program. It's coming down through the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, PHFA, and it's called CARES Rental Relief Program. So we worked very closely with ICAP. I got the application done. We got the contract done to appoint ICAP as our local entity. And now they are able to take applications for people who are in need of rental assistance during this pandemic who weren't able to pay their rent. But it's very specific. It has to be somebody who directly lost their job due to COVID-19 or lost over 30% of their income due to COVID-19 specifically, because you will have to prove that if we are able to get your application and we're able to help. But you can call ICAP at 724-465-2657 for more information, or you can look on their website, the help at icap.net, and see they're supposed to have their information up on their website. But if not, give ICAP a call and they'll be able to kind of navigate you through this. And the idea was through coming down through the federal government, this money had come down through the CARES Act, that it kind of got pushed down to all the counties too. So this is only for the rental relief. If people are in need of mortgage relief that are directly affected from the COVID-19 pandemic, you must go to the PHFA website and look under the mortgage. All mortgages go through PHFA. The rental relief is coming through the counties, and that would be ICAP for Indiana County.
So two different programs, but helping out with people who have who probably cannot pay either rent or their mortgage bills or whatever assistance they would need to keep their house and home during this pandemic. The great program, it sounds like. And it sounds like people can get approved, or not approved, but apply for it pretty easily.
Yes, yeah. And the landlord has to be involved in this, though. It cannot just be the renter. It has to be the landlord. They have to work on this, jointly. So there's information that the landlord would have to fill out, and there's information that the renter would have to fill out, and then they have to work together with ICAP to come up with a plan to be able to help with some of that back rent. But the thing is, there is going to be a lot of things that they have to be able to, get to ICAP too. So, and it is going to run through PHFA. It has to go through the labor and industry for the unemployment section.
Yeah.
So that might hold it up a little bit, but it's still, they're hoping that it goes through quickly. They're hoping every Thursday that we can send all of our applications in across the Commonwealth, and they're hoping by the next Monday they would have everybody checked off that yes, they're actually on unemployment. But that seems a little bit optimistic to me, seeing as how some things are working. So I just would caution people not to be too surprised if it takes a little longer than a week or so or 2 weeks to get this all kind of in place.
Well,
but it's a great program, and what I love is that it can help people that are, that section, that population that we have that is just over the income guidelines. It's often a population that we miss because they don't fit into the what they call the federal income poverty guidelines.
Yeah, and they kind of fall through the cracks.
It's just so heartbreaking when people cannot be able to access some kind of help or assistance. So this would be able to help those workers, and all you have to do is be directly losing your job for COVID-19, and then, or you lost more than 30% of your income because of COVID-19 directly, and then, but they will go off of household income. So it does get a little trickier if one spouse loses their job and the other spouse is still working. you still have to be able to show that 30% income loss.
Okay. So it's not just one person. It has to be both people in the house there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely household income. But it's a really good program, and I know that they're accepting applications over at ICAP at this time. So we want to make sure we have that information to give out.
And again, that is icap.net, and the phone number is 724-465-2657?
Yes.
All right, Good. We got it right. Okay, also, one other thing, you mentioned the National Elder Fraud Hotline.
Yes.
Yeah,
we've actually, I wanted to talk about this. We were actually on a call yesterday with District Attorney Manzi, and we are part of the Elder Abuse Task Force that really wants to focus in on seniors to make sure that they're not getting scammed and coming across. Now, there are some scams going on right now. Some of them have to do with the stimulus check that people had been receiving, and there were some counterfeit checks in there. So I think it was getting very, very confusing for some seniors what was real, what wasn't real. And also for unemployment, we had heard that some seniors were getting notifications in the mail that their unemployment had come through when they had been retired for many years.
Yeah.
So there are definitely some scams going on. So we want to make sure we give out this hotline number, and this is for the National Elder Fraud Hotline. Mm-hmm. So if a senior or a family member believes that someone has been defrauded, we want them to call 1-833-FRAUD-11. So that would be 1-833-372-8311. But it might be easier just to remember the fraud 11.
Yeah, 1-833-FRAUD-11. Yeah, we've heard about a lot of scams, not just with the checks that you mentioned, but also those scams where it's like, help, I need bail money or something like that, and those types of scams. I would imagine those are also going to be focused on. I hate to say it, Lisa.
They're definitely still going on, and I just heard District Attorney Manzi in the last half hour with you, and he's been really active with all of this too, so that's great.
Lisa, we're right up against it. Thank you very much. Please come back. We want to talk with you more about what's going on over at the Department of Human Services, so please come back.
All right. I'll see you next month, the first Wednesday. We just had to rotate it a little bit this time to get that in the state of the county address in.
Right.
So,
no
everything
worries.
Worked out great.
Thanks again, Lisa. Bye-bye.
Have a great day. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, Lisa Spencer joining us here on Indiana in the Morning. We're right up against it. Fox News headlines coming up right at the top of the hour here on Indiana in the Morning.
Looking for a career that gives your family the financial support and benefits they need? I'm Larry Jen.